Okay, these are what we talk about here. Is all facts and all come from the heart, our beliefs, our belief system. And all of us here, as I sat here and witnessed everyone, are all of the same belief. The Sqel Goldman. Yeah. The first of all, I will come back to the last one about giving names, and then I'll about what Maggie was talking about. Okay, giving names way back in my family, when I got my name, limləmt, there was no ceremonies. Your parents, whoever gave me that name, I don't know who gave me, but one of the family gave me the name limləmt. There was no name-giving ceremony, no anything like that. That's a personal thing within the family. I'll give you an example, like Westiken, Chris Armstrong. We were up at Uncle Willie's when he was born. I didn't even know, I was very naive at the time, that there was going to be a baby. And so then in the morning, we got there in the night, and in the morning they woke us up, and during the night we heard screams, and we were all scared. Children in those days were seen and not heard. You done what you were told. You learned by experience. You never asked questions. And when you did, you were answered very truthfully, short. They stuck to the truth. They never sugarcoated anything. But my Uncle Willie, you'd have to know him. So he brought us into the other room, and there Aunt Lily was laying down with the baby, and we thought, well, where did that come from? Tlakin Keats, hoy. And Sassy, I call him, that's a pet name for Sassy. Sassy is my uncle. I say, Tlakin Keats, hoy, kukuyoma. Where did that baby come from? And he looked out, that was right by a picture window. He said, Atsant, he kali, look way over there. And it had snowed, and then it rained on top of that, so it was crusty snow. He said, it leakits twistikin. That's where he was walking on top of the frozen snow. It leakits hoy. That's where he came from. He squeezed Westiken. That's what his name is, Westiken. So that's Chris Armstrong. That's how he got his name. So when I was teaching school, and they wanted a name-giving ceremony, and they came to me, and I said, no, I'm not going to do that. There's no such thing in our culture. We don't give name-giving ceremonies. That's a personal thing. I said no. So I forgot about it, and I went on. In this, one of the Lillian Louie's daughters, she taught language at the coast. Not language, she didn't teach language. She taught over in the coast somewhere. And part of that culture over there was name-giving ceremonies, and they were really cultural there. And so she came up to me and asked me again. And I said, no, I'm not going to. I don't believe in that stuff. I said, that's personal. She came to me again about a few weeks. She said, it's getting close to time. I said, time for what? She said, name giving. I said, I told you I wasn't going to do it. I said, get somebody else to do it. No, you're the only one. I said, no, you get somebody else. Finally, she kept on, and then she said, I'll explain to you why. At St. Pakchin, there was no elders. There was nobody there to give names. She said, all the kids that want names, they want Indian names. And Lutatsin, they don't speak the language. And it's Mattaway. There are different nationalities there. There's white, whatever other, Scalo. So I said, finally she explained to me, and she said, please, would you do this for the kids? When she said for the kids, I said, okay, for the kids. I'll do it for the kids. She said, because the kids want Indian names. They don't have anybody. Anytime they get an Indian name, somebody comes up to tell them, that's somebody's name. That's somebody's name. And so we can't. The kids want one of their own. So I said, on one condition, I will do this for the kids. But it has to be specified that I'm doing it for the kids, and that I have to explain that there was never any in the Okanagan people that I know that we have name-giving ceremonies. We don't have ceremonies. I said, when people gather, this condition, I will have to get up there and tell them and explain why I'm doing this, and I gave the same example as was taken at the time of that name-giving ceremony. And I had to, I don't know how many kids there were, it might have been 6, 7, I don't know, to the tradition of the where she was teaching. They had a certain way. The kids stood on fir boughs, and before they got their name, they stood behind, and then it's quite a ceremony. And before I explained all this, I told people there was no such thing as the ceremonies. Well, then I had to figure out, this one little girl came in, and she came dragging in some greasewood. She said, "What? Can I be named after this greasewood?" I said, "What?" Okay, we'll name you Little Sage, because is in the sage family. So interpretation's Little Sage. So that's how I done that. I picked names. I had to. But then the next year, I made some people mad. They wanted their name to be Red Bull. I said, look, this is traditional. It's not a commercial. But I went ahead. I said, that's Red Bull. So anyhow, so I quit. It was getting to the first year of our name-giving ceremony. There was about 400 people there. That was a lot. That was a big one. And in the tradition from the coast. And when we gave the ceremony, I explained to the people this wasn't Okanagan. This was a tradition from the coast that was brought over for the kids only. We weren't starting a new culture or a name giving only for St. Pachin. That would be theirs, whoever. So that's how the name giving, that's when it stopped. And we quit giving names. Okay, and so I will go now to the topic and kind of summarize. I think Pauline was speaking about the fire. Wasn't that the fire? Anyhow, what was your steam?
Making a big thing out of fire outside. Fire at,
yeah, well, it's just like she said. They make it's not. Years back, when a person passes on, usually the house is too small. The women stay in the house, and the men with the kids go out to stay warm. And even in the summertime, because there's not enough room, and we still do have cool nights. So they make a big thing out of it. So now they call it sacred fire. When they were telling me, be quiet, somebody's building a sacred fire, and I laughed. I said, what's that? And Hustikin and I, of course, he and I are not good. We joke a lot. Sacred fire. Sweet stimmifiax coolies. We knew who was going to do it, but anyhow, that's another one. That's another thing that's, if it's borrowed, it's borrowed. And another thing that I know that's borrowed, we never gave tobacco to the lakes. Like they go and they worship the lake, Spotted Lake. They say we have to worship the lake. I said the lake itself is nothing to worship. You take a dip in the Spotted Lake with all the minerals. Because we went over there and Pop, Felix Del Cayad, bathed in that. So that's, I say, the lake itself has medicinal purposes. It's not an entity, it's not a god, it's not anything. You don't go over there and pray to the lake. This is another tradition that they made. And then they pay the lake with tobacco. I've never heard of it. They hand me tobacco, I say no thanks, I don't smoke. So, and that's tradition that I do sometimes. I will hold it for respect. I try not to disrespect anyone. I will not turn away. I won't say anything when there's a lot of people around for the respect of that person. So I tell, don't give me tobacco. I don't smoke. Besides, I still do. People give me tobacco all the time. In smudging, we never have. Okay. For the respect of the ones growing up, and that's what they want. They want things. They have to have something to cling on to. So they make these things. For instance, I heard they have it well indoctrinated to the young people. This one kid, he was going, I'm not going to say, he was going to go to some sports or something. He said, oh, I forgot to smudge. Did anybody bring their smudge stuff? He said, did you bring some smudge stuff for respect? I said, no. I didn't. That's the way he was taught. That you got to go and smudge 3 or 4 times a day. That's not, we never done that. I never smudged in my whole life. It's just like somebody said, you take punch or sage, you put that around your neck for cold, for medicinal purposes. And the punch, what's that called in Samachin? Juniper. That's just like, it's either for, you put it on top of the stove for purposes of in any purpose you want. Purification of the house, air purifier, anything. And I have on my doors and windows. And my older sister came, what do you have that there for? I said, well, that's my belief of always, you take it away, it's no good. I said, no, you leave. She was going to take it. And I said, no, leave it there. She said, I don't believe in that. Whatever. And I said, well, I do. I said, what do you have it there for? I said, for insurance. Just in case there's something out there they don't come in. So it's a belief system. In another one that I would like to for names, that name places, has Naisnula, as people call it, Naisnola. Naisnula huilikat, Skeilhats, Huilhats, stuman chutel mal tumistel they buy and sell or they trade and that's buy, sell, trade. That's what Naisnula is called. That's a trading place. So now they've made it just a name with no meaning. Naisnula does have a meaning. That's the old trading place of the Sqelu. And I think that more or less summarizes, except the word, like we were talking about borrowed things. And the borrowed thing that I myself I think is real important is we are Sqelu. Our language is in Qeluqtsin. It's not Seal or in Seeluqtsin. So that is my belief. That's what I was taught. The things that was taught to me from handed on down on Qeluqtsin, it from our elders on down. It's all gotta be true. Don't lie about it. It will be bad for you. So if you do stuff like that, you lie about things like it'll either be bad for you and that'll be you, your children, or your grandchildren. So that is a serious thing. And now I know that people don't, I'm not saying this lightly. To me, this is not a very light subject because my years of teaching is not going to be, pretty limited right now. I mean, I still teach, but everything that we teach as elders, we respect each other. We respect each other's opinions, each other's person. And our parents done the same. And that's about all I have to say, and I really thank everybody for listening. White limlämt.